Hello, Rama Rama Puppodu. I hope all of you are having a healthy life, living peacefully, happy always, and feeling very relaxed. Now, let's go to chapter 17 Taraknath Temple. The Bengali sadhu was standing simply staring at the spectacle. At last, coming to himself, he suggested they might go out of the room, as other spots as also to be visited. Most reluctantly, Ramdas got up and came out of that heavenly place. Next, the sadhu guided Ramdas, who was in a state of complete dreaminess at the time, to a garden behind the room and pointed to a cluster of 5 trees called Panchavati, around which a circular platform of earth and stones was raised. Here, the Paramahamsa used to sit frequently and offer Upadesh to his disciples, explained the sadhu. Then he led the way to a small hut, wherein he said the saint used to sit in the samadhi or deep meditation of his favorite idol, Mother Kali. O Ramdas, thy eyes are indeed blessed by these sights. Flow on tears, warm with the glow of supreme happiness. Now the Bengali sadhu proposed to take Ramdas on a visit to a young sannyasi, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Agreeing, Ramdas was escorted and led away from the temple site for about a mile, where two sannyasis were found busy worshipping in front of the pictures of the Paramahamsa and Kali placed in a small mandir. Ramdas and the sadhu, on prostrating before the sannyasis, were invited to sit inside the temple. The puja over, they were given some prasad, on partaking which they sought permission to depart. Coming back to the Kali's temple, the Bengali sannyasi led the two sadhus to the bank of the Ganges, where the steamboat jetty was situated. From this place, the sannyasi pointed out the place called Belur Mutt, on the other side of the Ganges. He procured tickets for Ramdas and the Sadhuram and conducted them to the steamboat, which they duly boarded. But before leaving, he suggested when travelling onwards on the railway, they might make a halt at a shrine called Taraknath or Tirakesur, a place worth visiting. This suggestion was kept in mind since it came from Ram himself, whose kindness was felt at every step of this most marvelous and memorable pilgrimage. In due course, both sadhus landed on the opposite side of the Ganges. A walk of about 2 furlongs brought them to a small temple where they met a number of young men belonging to different parts of India residing. One of them took the sadhus inside the temple, in which paintings of the Paramahamsa were placed for daily worship. On enquiry, it was made out that the temple was erected over the ashes of Sri Ramakrishna. Then the sadhus visited the beautiful samadhis raised over the remains of Swami Vivekananda and the Holy Mother, wife of Sri Ramakrishna. Ramdas, wishing to spend a night at the mutt, expressed his desire to the friends of the place, but were told that the accommodation was full, and so it was not possible to accede to his request. It was all the wish of Ram, who does everything for the good. Thence they proceeded to the nearest station and got into a train going westwards. And in due time, one morning, they arrived at the Tarakasur station where they alighted. They went straight to the famous temple of Taraknath, in which it is said the Shivling had its spontaneous birth breaking up the roots of a palmyra tree, hence the name Taraknath. After bath and darshan, the sadhus went out into the city. Making enquiries, they learnt that some liberal Raja was feeding 40 to 50 sadhus every day with a sumptuous dinner. Coming to the place, they waited along with many others outside the Dharmashala. At about 11 o'clock, an old friend, the manager of the kshetra, called in the sadhus, counting the number required, and let them in, one by one. On a long veranda, in two rows facing each other, all the sadhus sat down and leafy plates were placed before them. When the food was being served, a new sadhu of middle age came in and demanded food. The manager of the kshetra at first refused to take him in as the number to be fed was complete. But at the mention of the fact by the sadhu that he had not had meals for 2 days past, he was also offered a leaf and he sat down at a place which happened to be just opposite to Ramdas. The dinner consisted of wheat puris, pretty thick and about 16 inches in diameter, some bhaji or curry and sweets. At first, each was served with 2 puris and sweets, etc. The puris have been prepared out of mill-made mixed wheat flour, were flexible like rubber. Ramdas was wanting in teeth. In all, he had not half a dozen in his mouth. Even those who had the full complement of teeth had to struggle hard with the puris before they were thrust down the throat. Ramdas' case was hence unique. Now the sadhus, the latest arrival for the dinner, sitting in front, was observed to have finished his share in less than 2 minutes. He was served again with 4 puris, which also disappeared in a trice. Again served with 4 more, and they met with the same fate. The sadhu was looking up for more. At this juncture, the old friend ordered the cook to fetch out the whole stock of puris from the kitchen. On having them, he approached the sadhu and said, "Maharaj, you may take as many as you like." And he served 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and on until he counted 20. Still the sadhu would not stop. 4 more, and the friend stopped, assuring the sadhu that he shall have more after finishing those served. At this stage, the attention of all the sadhus were directed towards this voracious eater. All commenced to watch his eating process, but for himself the sadhu was calm and determined. Puris after puris were disappearing. It mattered not for him what was going on around him. At every 4 or 5 puris, he was drinking water out of a big brass pot he had by his side. Most of the sadhus present there could not eat more than 4 each. The highest record with some did not exceed 6 puris. But the phenomenal sadhu has been served in all about 34 puris. He was also served more bhaji or curry and sweets. He ate them all, with 1 potful of water into the bargain. The affair is narrated here, not out of any disrespect to the sadhu, but to appraise the reader of the case of a man who had a tremendous appetite, showing forth the wonderful Maya of Ram. After 2 days' stay at the shrine, Ramdas and the Sadhuram left the station and came to Gaya, where obtaining darshan in the temple and having a bath in the holy river Ganga. Started next day and reached the famous shrine of the north, Kashi Banaras. Okay, folks, that's all for today. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupodu.